Alright, well, standing in the shop and got the oats planted yesterday, and it started raining about 10:30, 11 o'clock last night, and I think it's rained ever since. But one thing is the 1-ton's missing. There's the front axle for it. Oh, wait a minute, here. I've got the 1-ton pushed in the shop here. We pushed it in here with the skid loader. Yeah, it's Chalmers B's in here. Got it up on jack stands. I got the frame all cleaned off here a little bit. That power steering box is going to come off there. I'm going to take it and throw it in the tank, clean it up. But I've been working this morning on cleaning these frame rails up and getting the spring mounts, figuring out where the spring mounts and the shock mounts go. The front spring hanger goes here, and I've done this before. My 86 was a f350, so it had the twin traction beam underneath of it, and I put the Dana 60 underneath of it. So all I had to do was unbolt the twin I-beams and put the solid axle in. The springs are already there, but I did reverse. Ford had a shackle on the front and had them flat springs, and it was mounted solid on the back spring perch, and with them flat springs, the axle would move up and move back. And when I put the Dana 60 in, I moved the pivot to the back. The shackle's in the back. The front of the spring was mounted solid, which is something they did in the 78s and 79s, had the shackle in the back. And then the Super Duties went back to it. But the OBS trucks all had that goofy shackle in the front and flat springs, and that was a dumb idea. When you went and arched the springs, they rode like a tank, because there was no give to the springs. They couldn't, the axle couldn't move forward when you hit a bump going forward. So we're going to kind of correct one of Ford's problems there. And this isn't something I've come up with. A company called Sky Manufacturing makes a kit. They call it a reverse shackle kit. And it's a bunch of brackets and a cross member that goes up front, and you put an arch spring in here, and the shackle goes in the back. But their kit's about $400, and I figure I can build the parts and do it just as well as they did, because I did the 86 and it's been on the road for 10 years. So the only problem I have with it is where the springs have a dual wrap, like a military wrap on the springs. That wrap hits the shackles and makes a funny clunking noise, but if that's all it does, it doesn't bother me. So anyhow, I'm gonna bring you along with this, and between planting and making hay this summer, we're gonna get this truck converted to 4-wheel drive. The Dana 60's on a cart, and it's back in here. It's ready to go in. I've got the kingpins, or the ball joints in it. It needs torqued down, and once I get the springs in, we'll roll her under the front of it, and she'll be 4-wheel drive. I'm real happy with this cab. There's only one hole in the floor pan, and I'm gonna have to put a 4-pan in it, I'm sure, but this frame's in real nice shape. So, alright, I've rammered on long enough, so thanks for watching. Alright, it's Wednesday night here, and I don't know if you can hear the rain on the roof, but it's raining again, so we weren't in the field tonight or today or any time tomorrow. So, thought I'd work on the f350. It just kind of got the rear spring hangers mocked up back there, and they need holes drilled. What I have to do is put a bolt in there and get a measurement here from someplace. I've got 2 other trucks, so I can get a measurement to the center of that pin to something else on this frame. And the frame for the 2-wheel drives are real similar to the ones on 4-wheel drive, but a few differences here and there. But I'll get a dimension from there to something, and I'm thinking it's going to be that pin right there, as I think that's a locating pin when they come down the assembly line. So I think that's going to be the same on all of them. Anyhow, I'll get a measurement from there, and then I'll diagonal it from there to the back wheels so the thing isn't going down the road crooked. As long as it, you know, as long as the front axle square to the back axle, we should be good. Should go down the road straight. But up here, I got some steel. The other day, I'm building the front spring shackles, or the spring hangers. A lot of this is going to be cut off. I'll bring it down here below this and cut it into a V, and I'll have the spring will mount down here someplace in a pin or a bolt. But that leads me to, I gotta box these ends in, or what I'm thinking, I'll have this inner mount here. This will be down here like that, and of course the bolt will go through the spring there, and this will be, I'll cut that down, make it look nice. But then I'm also going to have something on the inside here that'll bolt to this, and then I'll have a cross member in here between the two, because these 2 frame members just hang out there in the air. The bumper stiffens them up, but I mean, there's nothing. I mean, this is pretty flimsy. The steering box is there and everything, and that cross member doesn't help it any out here. So I'm going to put a cross member out here. It'll be underneath the core support. But yeah, and then I'll have the springs on there, and I'll have a spring shackle back there. And that's what I'm working on here tonight, is getting these mounts made for the springs. Now, the bad part is those holes are slotted. So I've moved the bolt holes, and this is 3/8 plate here, which is an overkill, but well, I'd rather have it heavier than not heavy enough. Yeah, so I put the bolt holes in there out at the edges, and these front 2 are bumper bolt mounts. So I have to move probably what I'll end up doing is moving the bumper out 2 inches so that it ain't right up on the frame like that. But the original 4-wheel drive frames were cut out here, and I think the shackle bolt went through this hole. So the original 4-wheel drive frames were a lot flimsier. And of course they depended on the bumper too, to stiffen up the front end, because there was no cross member there. So anyhow, that's what I'm working on, trying to get things mounted up solid here, because that frame is just stamped and nothing's 90 degrees, nothing's cut straight. The only thing I'm sure of is the outside of it's flat. So I'm dealing with what I've got to deal with. And I've done this before. I've done this on the 86 when I reversed the shackles on it. It's a thing they do for four-wheeling. I don't know, a company called Sky Manufacturing builds a kit for this, but I didn't buy one the last time, and I'm probably not going to buy it this time either. And the other thing is, I'm going to cut this off here flush, so it blends in with the frame a little better. But yeah. Anyhow, that's what I'm working on, and I got this frame all cleaned up. Put some paint on it. I got to drill some holes back there for them spring hangers when I get them lined up, and that'll be that. So thanks for watching. Alright, I was out here just working on the front of the Ford. I got my front brackets cut down a little bit, and I used the antique plasma cutter there, because that's what I got, and I'll grind it to finish. But that's what I'm working on. Cut that piece out right there, take a little weight off of them. So alright, I'll bring you back. Alright, I got these brackets all fabbed up, and they'll be I gotta take them off and paint them and everything. I think I'm gonna put some gussets down here, but I have to take them off and turn them over first. There's my cross member, both brackets, and I end up getting new springs. There's the part number for them. Stanley springs. They come from Keystone Spring over in Pennsylvania. But that's pretty much how they'll set. Of course, it'll come up some more this way. Shackle will go in the back there. That's all I got left to do is, and this shock mount will move forward about a ½ an inch. It's just in a hole right now. There's an existing hole in the frame, and I bolted it in there just to see what it'd look like, but it needs to go a ½ inch forward. Got everything welded up pretty good, solid. Like I said, I'll have a gusset to go underneath there, so that doesn't fold over. And then bring the back up and put the axle underneath of it. These are the original. These are the 450 spring brackets that go on the center bolt there. I kind of like that one. Those are the original for the 350 Dana 60 axle, so I think I'm going to use those. But I only have one, and it's in pretty rough shape, so I may cut these up and make little ears and put the springs or the shocks out here. But anyhow, that's what I've been doing today. Got new springs. These are supposedly heavy duty springs for an F350. they do have a positive arch to them. That's what I told the guy. The standard ones were flat, and I didn't want that. I wanted a little bit of an arch, but I didn't want lifted springs. So these are heavy duties. Anyhow, I think I'm gonna call it a night here. It was snowing this morning, so didn't get anything done. Too wet in the field. Everything turns up mud balls, so I'll have to bring you back, or, well, I got a bunch of video piled up on this. I think I'm gonna have to publish it all, and so, or produce it all. So probably be the end of this video, and thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and take care and stay safe. Alright, it's Sunday afternoon, I don't know, middle of May here. I guess it is Mother's Day, huh? I got my cross member all built, my spring brackets all made up, welded together, and I got the frame parts of it painted where I'm gonna put it together here between the steel, because that's gonna be an issue. And then I got all grade 8 hardware to bolt them on there. So yeah, I'm gonna set you up here, and you can watch me get my fingers covered in paint, because I wanted to get to put it together while the paint was still wet, so I didn't scratch the dry paint, and it'll just glue itself on there. I got plenty of paint on it, so I'll set you up here. Yeah. Oh, you fell down. How's it come? Get you all turned around here. I don't know why you even fell out of there. That's why. Alright, I'll bring you back.